Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Build a Nation Challenge with HNK Vukovar. This episode we've got no European football, bizarrely. I'm still not quite sure why. We've got 9 transfers out and we've got a kind of the wheels falling off the cart after what was a tremendous start to the season. So stick around, I'll show you where we are, where we're going, and hopefully we can recover and still make a push for some European football next season. And the first place to start in this new kind of organisation we've got is we'll do the transfers. Nothing in terms of players in. We've not brought anyone in. There was a couple midfielders we took a look at, but we didn't have the financial clout to bring them in. And there was one player in particular we put a bid in for, try and get him on a free transfer, but he went to, I think it was Porto or someone in Spain. We can't really compete with financially, so a bit of a miss out. It would have been nice to get a centre midfielder in because I think that's one of our weak areas, but unfortunately we couldn't do it. In terms of the players going out, Josip Gakic, one of the former captains, we've let him go. We did get a transfer fee for him, so he's gone out, 95,000 to FC Arges. Again, he wasn't getting the game time he wanted, he was becoming unsettled. Thought probably best to cash in on him rather than let him for a free. Then we let Josip Bognar, he's gone away on a loan, so get the youth player some game time. Samir Spahic, it's probably easier I'll click on him. Spahic is gone away on a loan as well with a potential fee. Again, he's not getting the game time he wants. We've got a young Croatian player that we want to develop in that position, so we've let him go and recoup some money for him through a loan fee. Matteo Spadina, again another young player we've let go out on loan, get some game time. He's not going to play for us, but as part of development of the players moving forward, we've let him go out on loan. Antonio Filipovic, he was floating around the first team squad, hoping to get some first team football. However, we've let him go out on loan, which has left us a little bit short at centre half, but I think it's probably worth doing as we don't have European football, which we'll touch on when we get to the fixtures. Who else have we got? Zan Kovacevic. We wanted to get him away on a transfer. No one would make any bids for him, despite only being £3,000. So again, we've sent him on loan, recoup some loan fee, get some of his wages paid, try and build the financial position of the club. Victor Necht, who we'd signed in the summer, we're not really giving him any game time. He's getting unsettled. I thought we'd just put him on loan, not necessarily to sell. We might bring him in and reintroduce him next season because he's got some potential in there. But again, he's not getting any game time up front while we've got the forward we've got. So Necht has gone out. Marin Kalisic, another one we brought in the summer, rotational. I didn't actually want to put him out on loan, but he's so unsettled. It's probably for the best, especially while we've not got the European football to give him the game time. Give him a bit of development time at another club, he'll come back in and reintroduce himself because that kind of model of Croatian player is someone we want to keep at the club long term. That's Kalisic, and then finally Gabriel Juresco. Really good for us at right back last season, but we've now got our Brazilian player right back. We've got Pauk, who we want to be able to pull into that position. So the 22-year-old, it's kind of come a little bit surplus to requirements, so we put him out on loan as well. So that rounds up the transfers, and nothing really else to talk to in that space, other than perhaps, and this is big news, is Patel's minimum release clause has expired now, so we get to keep him. The young Brazilian, 21 now. One of the best players at the club, still got lots of room to develop into. Any fee we can recoup for him will now be entirely our fee, and we can hold them to ransom for whatever price we want. So that's massive news for not losing a player at a cut price deal. Some of the other kind of minimum release clauses we need to expire for some of the other players like Mohar and our new centre forwards we can, but again, that's really big news for us, so fantastic. Moving on then into the schedule and the fixtures we've had. I think when we last lost you, we were at Lokomotiva, 10 games into the season. Followed that with a 1-0 win at Rijeka, and Victor Necht, who we've just seen go out on loan. He'd got his only goal for the club at that point there. We're just rotating the players around, getting some game time in there. But yeah, good for him to get a goal developmental wise. It was quite a tight game. Rijeka, one of the teams at the top end of the league. A 5-0 win against Mladost Petrinja. Stojkovic with a couple. Palavinek, the youngster that we're trying to develop. Kapatina, midfielder in on loan. He's not actually got a great rating on him, Mihai Kapatina. We might look at him in the squad section, but he's certainly playing a lot of games for us and putting in some good ratings. Slaven Belupo, a 2-1 win. Sekulic and Lukanic getting a couple of goals in there. Again, it's one of the teams that we need to be winning, and it's good to see us doing that before we come up some of the big teams. We then played Dynamo in the league, a 1-1 draw. Razak Guikan getting a goal on the 21st minute. They're getting an equaliser on the 45th minute. A fairly quiet second half. If I'm honest, they probably deserved to win that game on the chances that were created. But fortunately, we managed to stay level and get a point in that game. Then we played them in the cup the very next game, and we managed to squeak out a 1-0 win. Guikan with the goal, 1-0, 72nd minute, a very tightly contested affair. And it's nice just to get the better of them because they're one of the better teams in the division, and we wanted to have a cup run. Osijek, we got a 1-1 draw. Again, they're one of the I'd say the big three in the top of the division. We want to break into that. Stojkovic with a 45th minute goal, equalising, and again we ground out another point. Hajduk, this is the one, I mean, we just can't seem to get a break against them. 2-1, Mohar getting a goal in the 93rd minute, but we were already well and truly out of the game at that point. They'd been brilliant. They could have scored a whole lot more. And I think that's the team we're really modelling to catch up with, and we need some big transfers next summer. Rude's 3-1 win, Patel, Capitana and Lukanic with the goals. Again, fairly straightforward. A bit disappointing to concede a goal, but again, more points on the board. Varisdin in the league, and this is a bit weird. We played them in the league. We played Dynamo in the league and then in the cup. We did the same against Varisdin. And again, very similar. We got a draw with him the first time round, and then the second time, after extra time, we managed to squeak through 4-3. Lukanic with 2, Guikan with 1, and Stojkovic with the winner on the 118th minute, just before it would have gone to penalties. So huge. Unfortunately, we followed that up with a 2-1 loss against a team that I would expect us to beat. 93rd minute winner for Istra. We'd had goal from Bukvic, but weren't able to hold on or capitalise on that for a big win. Lokomotiva, a 1-1 draw, 43rd minute goal from Lukanic. Again, Lukanic having a really good season. A few friendlies in there as we got to the kind of winter break. I won't really look at them too much, but building on a number of goals and victories, getting some of the players integrated into the team. And then out the other side, it must have paid dividends a little bit, because against Rijeka we got a 5-2 victory with Patel, Guikan, Lukanovic and Struntz getting the goals. And that's the kind of Rijeka, Osijek, Dynamo and Hajduk are the teams that I really want us to be able to beat, because that's where we're going to make the gains at the top end of the table. Slaven Belupo 4-3. Again, I think what's it starting to show is the defence is starting to get a little bit leaky. We need to shore up something in there, maybe go a bit more defensive. Dynamo, again, having said we just wanted they're the teams we want to get the points off, they beat us 2-1. We did take the lead in that game, but again, they were just too powerful for us. Osijek, a 1-1. Again, we got an own goal in the 92nd minute, which is a bit frustrating. That's 3 points that have turned into 1. Makes a bit of a gap at the top of the league, but you can't win them all. And I'll show you with this squad in a little bit. We're starting to get a little bit narrow in terms of the squad. The other thing to talk about this phase is, initially when there was no Conference League fixtures coming through, I thought it was just because the qualifying rounds hadn't been played yet, so we hadn't been entered into the competition. But the longer it's gone on, it turns out that we're just not getting into Europe this year. Financial impact to that, it's probably quite significant. We're going to make a little bit less money, so we're really to make sure that we push on in the league and secure some European football for next season as we develop the squad further. Again, I'm just not sure why that is. I'll try and have a look at them to see the table and go back a season, but I'm pretty sure we qualified for European football, but it might just be that the colour codes in the league gave me a false impression of that. So we've got 13 games to go. We've also got a cup semi-final against Hajduk to get into, which is that's one I really want to rest some players beforehand and maybe put a big push on that. But as you can see, at that period of the season, we're playing Dynamo, Hajduk twice and Osijek, so the big teams in there. So that's going to be a really tough period for us. And we might come back and, if we get past them in the semi-final, show the cup final as a kind of an episode or just before the end of season review. But we'll see what happens. In terms of the squad then, you can see from what was a massive squad, we've actually shrunk down quite significantly, mostly because of the 9 players who've gone out on loan. I probably wouldn't have done that if... why can't I sort this out? Probably wouldn't have done that if we'd had all the players we wanted to. That's really annoying, I can't fix that. But again, I took it as an opportunity to recoup some finances, get some more money in the club, take advantage of the fact that we're not playing in European football this season, and redo the squad ready for the transfer window. So that's where we are in terms of the squad. One player probably to look at this point is Capitino. I mean, he's a midfielder. He can play right back, but he's a midfielder. Got him on loan to cover a gap, but he's just playing really well. I mean, he's not got a great rating. He's only 2-star current ability, 2-star potential, but he's played 10 games in the league, got 2 goals. He's got an average of 7, which compared to the rest of the squad is quite significant. He's got a really good stat spread, and I think this is just one of them players. Sometimes you get them in Football Manager where they don't stick out like a sore thumb in terms of all their ratings and everything, or their values, or their assessment by the coaching staff, but they're just really consistent and they put in really good performances. And for us in midfield, where we are getting a little bit short, it's just a really good player to have in the squad. So we're down to it like a 25 from where we were maybe at 34. That's made it a little bit harder to rest players. We don't have really strong players all over the place. You can still see a few players are wanted, but the transfer window's shut, so this is the squad for the rest of the season. In terms of the tactics, maintained it largely the same: 2 central midfielders, an advanced playmaker. It's been working quite well. Mohar, he's only got 2 goals. I'd like him to get more. Struntz is up to 8. Stojkovic hasn't really gone on and scored any more goals since the start of the season. Guican's up to 12, so again he's playing out on the right at the minute. Normally would be up front. Just had a little bit of rotation during a couple of the fixtures, but there we are. And then you can see we're getting quite light on the bench now. So I mean, Kvetko's just come back from injury, so we can feed him in there. Bukvic, who normally plays on the right, and Zarivka. So we're actually carrying a gap. We might have to promote another player from the youth team. If we go and have a quick look at who's in the youth team, we'll do it now. Why not? Let's show you. So going to the end of the 19 squad, I normally look to see who's the closest there. Ormovic has come back from loan, so maybe we'll just put him back in the first team squad. Kumic is back from his loan. Let's get him up as well. Just boost out the squad a little bit, and that's probably all that's really ready. The rest of them out on loan. We reintegrate them. I've kicked them into the under 19 squad just to get them out of the way of the squad, because it's quite difficult to see at times. But yeah, so I mean, in terms of the update so far at the mid-season point, we've got 13 games to go. We are 3rd in the league, equal on points with Dynamo, and that's the challenge now, is to get into that 2nd position. Looking at the league positions, if I can look at the stages, bump back a season. Yeah, I'm not sure why Varazdin got the Conference League. It must be because Osijek won the cup and we're outside the league positions. Is actually that position's not dropped down the leagues from their finishing positions. So it's that bizarre situation where we finished in the top 5, which would have qualified us for a European spot had one of the top 4 teams won the cup. Now if we go into the competitions, I'm not quite sure how I get into the cup. Let's go in through the fixtures. Croatian Cup semi-final. Good history. Yeah, there you go. So Osijek won it. So we'll blame them. It's their fault. We didn't get into Europe. It's frustrating. It's impacted us financially, but I'll get on and play the rest of the games of the season. I'll come back for the end of season review to see how we get on. And everybody cross your fingers and hope we can get into European football next season. So until I see you again, stay care. And here we are at the end of the season. So that tells many things. First of all, we are not in the cup final. We'll get to that in a minute. We have had a good cup run, but we didn't get into the final, hence why we're not showing you the game. But without further ado, let's get into the end of season review to show you how we did end up in the cup. First of all, in terms of the new arrivals then, this time better than last season, we can actually assess these properly. Luka Stojkovic, a winger on the left-hand side, came in, 23 appearances, 8 goals, 6 assists, 7.22 average, pretty good really. C+ rating, fairly pleased with the deal. Again, I think it's quite a good deal, that one. I was quite happy with it. I'm surprised it's not higher than a C+, but there you go. Romeo Lukavniak, again A-. That's because we've picked up a really good young prospect centre-back on a relatively low fee, with very relatively low wages and a bit of a potential threshold on him. So he only played 1 game, got 7.2, but I think we'll see more of him in the seasons as we move forward. Domagoj Bukvic, A+, a tremendous signing on the right hand side, came quite late in the window. 34 games, 8 goals, 6 assists, 7.01 average, so Really good signing in him, getting some goals from the side. And between Stojkovic and Bukovic, that's 16 goals, which was far higher than we had from the wingers the season before. Marino Zaravka, a B assessment. He came in as a kind of reserve striker. We brought a few strikers in, the last one being Guican, who we'll get to. But he essentially made it so these players didn't really get much game time, only making one full appearance, one sub appearance, picking up an assist with a 7, but not really living up to the potential he has. I mean, we've still got him, we've loaned him out or put him on the loan list. We'll see what we do with him in the years to come, but he might be a really good player to develop and sell on for a profit. Oliver Struns, we brought in a C+. We paid £7,250 for him. He played 22 games and 6 appearances from the left-hand side, another 8 goals contribution from essentially playing in a wing position with an average of 7. So again, another really good signing. Marko Zebic, who got the star signing from Dynamo, 1.1 million. 33 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. Really good centre-half, got lots of potential in him. He's still got another half a star to squeak out of him. Again, I think he'll be with us for a few more years to come. He's still relatively young, so really good signing to strengthen up the back four. Next one, Mohar, bit of a favourite. He's I think he was Albanian or something, Moroccan. Really good stats on him. Played 36 games, 2 sub appearances, 3 goals, which I'd like to see more of. But key there is he's got 12 assists. Picked him up on a free transfer. Again, he's got minimum fee release clause on him. He's only 21, and if we can get that clause cleared and developing a little bit further, we've got a real player on our hands to kind of replace Tovic long term. Razak Gaikan, an A+. Again, he's now a wonder kid. 36 games, 19 goals. So just off 2 per game. Only a 6.93 average, but I think he'll get slightly better now. He's a little bit older and his development's ticked up a little bit. Looks like a real prospect with room to grow on him, so I'm excited to see what he does in the next season if we can fix the issues we've got with his squad itself. Then we've got Peja Kopic Polavinic from Lokomotiva, 850,000. Invested quite heavily in him fairly early in the transfer window because I saw him as a potential long-term replacement for Tolic. That was before the opportunity to sign Mohar came in. However, I think long-term, probably going to move Mohar on at some point if we can recoup a fee and keep Kopic Polavinic because he's the Croatian homegrown. So really good signing. Like to see some more of him. B+ as it currently stands. Right back, really hard position to fill. Again, A+, Nicholas, Brazilian fullback, 38 games, really consistent for us. Still got a bit more room to grow. Still only young at 23, so really, really good sign in a position we needed someone. And we've got a couple backups to kind of develop them full time. So it's not a position we really need to look for in this current transfer window we're coming up to. And then finally, Dominic Ziga, pulled him up as an opportunity to sign a free player. He wasn't very good. He's not played any games. We will probably move him on the summer as one of them transfers that really just didn't work out for us. In terms of the transfers out, Carbo finally moved on. Coyote, Valentin George, Gacic, Alinkovic, Begonia. Begonia's one I would have liked to have kept really, but he was such a pain in the backside to try and keep happy that we've moved him on, got a transfer fee from him which enabled us to develop the squad further. Hanulak, probably wish we would have kept him now because we hit some real big problems towards the end of the season with centre midfielders, which I'll let you know along the way as we go through the results, but we really did struggle for central midfielders. So Hanulak and Alinkovic, we would love to have had them a little bit longer. Pelko moved on, Ezgeta moved on, Skoff, Garces and Caro, youth players that we just released from the club. So moved a lot of players on, made quite a little bit of money in there and developed some players. In terms of loans, we've got quite a few out on loan this year. Bognar, Kovacevic, some of these for development, some for trying to offload players. So Bognar development, Kovacevic trying to sell him on as part of that deal. Stankovici, I mean, he wasn't playing many games for us, so we put him out on loan. However, towards the end of the season, I would have loved to have had him because he's a central midfielder, and that's on me. And made some major mistakes in terms of the squad build towards the end of the season by letting too many central midfielders move on loan or on transfers. Subaric out on for developmental, Juresko trying to move him on, Kumic development, Anissa trying to move him on, Spadida development, Omaric trying to move him on, Filipovic, Bauk, Soblar for development, Spahic we're trying to move on, Kalisic would probably like to come back and integrate into the squad, next for development, and Jovicevic for development. So overall, relatively happy. They were all late in the transfer window because of our squad size was quite big. We wanted to move some on for development, but we should have really worked to make a bit more money in terms of the loan fees. So that's something I'll look for in the next season. In terms of the results then, here we go. We have just squeaked into the Champions League on second place, 1 point clear of Rijeka, who were 1 point clear of Dynamo, quite far clear of Osijek and Varazdin. But the way to summarise the season is we had a really good start to the season. We had that really great patch where we won 7 games in a row. We had a huge gap up in that second place in the league. But as we came through that halfway mark and into the second half of the season, the loan players went back. So we lost Capitana, he went back off his loan. We lost another loan player on Ilinkovic went. I'd let some other central midfielders weren't getting game time go out on loan, and I couldn't recall them. That we ended up with just one recognised central midfielder for the majority of these games, of which we really then struggled to dominate the midfield and get any kind of traction in terms of results. However, towards the end of the season, playing Stojkovic in central midfielder kind of developed him a little bit in that position, and we were able to grind out a few draws. I mean, we should be beating Rudes and Varazdin. We should be beating Istra comfortably. It's only really the big teams that we should have struggled against, but that win at Hajduk Split was probably the key one. Got a 4-1 victory at home when it was looking like we might just get picked for it, and we were fading off a little bit. And then on the last day of the season, we were actually third in the league, but a win at Istra 1-0, and then Dynamo slipped to a draw. We were managed to just hop up a little bit. Rijeka picked past Dynamo as well. But what that means is we've got a huge financial boost next season as we go into the Champions League. So interested to see what that looks like in terms of finances, just following a season where we didn't get a European spot, which I think we probably deserved. In terms of the Croatian Cup, got all the way up to the semi-final, and Hajduk Split knocked us out 1-0, which was massively frustrating. And again, that was because we had only one recognised central midfielder. Otherwise, I think we could have given them a good game and probably got ourselves into a cup final. But that's on me to correct in the summer. Moments to remember: 5-0 win against Mladost Petrinja. Again, a game you'd expect us to win against a lower league opposition in the cup. You could see Capitana still having an influence to the games at that stage. 3-1 victory against Slaven Blupo. So these games all centering around teams against the lower teams. Bukvic for 2 goals and Struns, and then goal of the season Lukanic in a 3-3 draw with Rudes, a game that we should be winning. In terms of finances, reputation, I'm not sure how much it will change because we didn't have a run in Europe this season, so it might well stay the same. Annual revenue is down drastically, especially in the competition prize money. We've got none this year. We had 6.43 million last year. Shows you the importance of getting into European competition. And then shirt sales, nothing really to write home about. But Guican and Mohar, I think, will feature. Tovic, I would imagine, will start to fade off as we look to move him on in the summer. How we lined up then, same formation. Kovacevic carries on in goals. We've got Kivanovic, an area we really need to strengthen is left back. Patel and Zebic in the centre with Nicholas at right back. So really, that's a really solid back five. Midfield, Capitana, and despite only being 2-star current ability, he just had such a fantastic average rating for us, and I can't really put my finger on it because all the scouts were saying he's not good enough, but he really consistent game in, game out, and when he went, form really took a bit of a nosedive. Lukanic fairly consistent in the middle, and then the front four are Stojkovic, Bukvic, Mohar and Guican. Got us a lot more goals this season than we have in previous, so really happy with how the season went, really happy to be in the Champions League, and we'll see where we go. In terms of the accolades, we've got 2 Manager of the Month awards, which is good. Player of the season, the young player of the season is Matheus Patel, the Brazilian youngster. Again, he's getting better and better, and now his release clause is gone. It's someone to build the club around him, and Guican and Zebic, signing of the season. We've got Lukanic in the middle of the picture. We've really got a good core now. I think this summer is only about bringing in 1 or 2, maybe a central midfielder and a reserve left back. Other than that, I think we've got a fairly settled squad moving forward. In terms of history in the Making a Manager timeline, bringing through talent. So Razik Gikan, Wonder Kid, he made it to the next gen list, which is amazing, really, considering we've only been in the club for a few seasons and we picked him up on a free transfer. If we can get something else like that in the summer, I will be over the moon, but I think we were quite lucky with that. And then Kovacevic was Croatian Goalkeeper of the Year, so again another really good accolade to get with on and with the players. So that's where we were. It's another season to kind of build on. We've got Champions League football. We haven't yet won a trophy. This squad own goal regarding centre halves is all my own fault. We'll look to correct that in the summer in the next episode, which is going to a transfer window. And next episode, we'll hopefully see the first result as we step into the Champions League. So hopefully that served as a really good update as to where we are. Things are going well. It's 2029. We're in the top division. We've finally broken into the Champions League. We need to get into Europe consistently to keep the finances going up. And as some of you may have noticed, I've got my Everton top on to watch the game tonight. So hopefully Everton can get a result away at Leeds tonight. And everyone enjoys their football manager, enjoys the football, has enjoyed the return of the Premier League. And until next time, enjoy yourselves and I'll see you soon.